Disney Speedstorm has a balance issue. That's right, I'm sure you're aware of this if you've played Disney Speedstorm, especially the multiplayer modes. You'll know that not all racers are created equal, and some are much better and some are much worse than others. This is caused by a variety of different reasons, but most significantly, every racer has a unique stat line, and every racer has a unique ability, and the power of these two things can heavily determine how good or bad a racer is and create a meta, or most effective tactic available within Disney Speedstorm. This is fine and natural for any live service game that has a lot of different characters and moving parts, and it's just a part of the experience. But what is not natural for these kind of games is that the meta of Disney Speedstorm pretty much has not changed in the 3 seasons that it's been out, and that is where our balance issue lies. To prove my point, if we take a trip down memory lane back to Season 1 of Disney Speedstorm, this is when Mike Wazowski was super meta, the best racer in the game by far, and Sully was arguably the worst racer in the game, and the community complained about this constantly, and then Gameloft adjusted accordingly, as they should, as any live service game company should. They nerfed the best racer, Mike Wazowski, twice actually, and then buffed Sully, arguably the worst racer, twice, buffing him once, and then buffing the brawler class as a whole, just because, they were sort of the weakest class in the game, and I think their stats definitely reflected upon that. But then as we headed into Season 2 and Season 3 of Disney Speedstorm, there were no more balance changes. They released 2 sets of balance changes and there were none to be had, and it's not like the meta has been dramatically shifting just because of the additions of new racers. No, that is not the case at all. Figment and Hercules still remain the 2 worst racers in the game after well over 3 months of clear data showing this, and yet no balance changes are coming anywhere in sight. Now, the point of this video isn't to go through and say, oh, nerf Stitch, nerf Mike, nerf Sully, buff Figment, buff Hercules. It's not to go through the balance changes that I want to be added to the game, because even though I do agree and would love all of those statements that I just listed, and I think most of the community would as well, the true point of this video is to say we need balance changes, period, because for over 3 months, or just about 3 months, there have not been any balance adjustments to Disney Speedstorm, despite a clear imbalance in racers of the game. Figment is practically unplayable, and it's clear that there are some top super meta racers that are really, really strong and need to be nerfed or addressed in order to make the game more enjoyable for everyone playing any mode. Even in single player, Stitch can be annoying with his lasers shooting everywhere, and they're practically impossible to dodge. It makes the game a bad experience if it's not actively trying to be balanced. Practically every other live service competitive game, which Disney Speedstorm is, has regular balance adjustments or something to keep the game and the meta of the game fresh. Just going through a few games that I've played, Overwatch, you can compare the racers in this game to the heroes in Overwatch. They constantly receive balance adjustments in that game, and that game's very good about keeping it competitive and keeping the meta of the game fresh. You could compare the racers in Disney Speedstorm to guns in Fortnite that constantly get rotated out and adjusted accordingly. You could compare this to Brawl Stars, another mobile game that has a lot of pay-to-win aspects in it. Even those brawlers get balance changes frequently despite people sinking money into them, which is not an excuse for Disney Speedstorm. Even Mario Kart, a game so similar to Disney Speedstorm, they get balance changes despite Nintendo even having a history of not updating their games very much. They get slight stat adjustments to all their carts and the different builds in Mario Kart, and I think Disney Speedstorm desperately needs this for a lot of different reasons. One, like I mentioned before, it makes the game enjoyable. It keeps the meta fresh. It keeps a couple racers away from dominating the entire racing space for the rest of the game, because if Mike and Stitch don't get nerfed, you're either going to have to A, make every racer that comes out on their level just to be able to compete, which isn't fair or fun for any of the other racers, or B, you're just not going to be able to play them, which is obviously much worse. Another thing that Disney Speedstorm has going for it that makes it really need balance adjustments is the fact that people have emotional attachments to these racers. I sure do. I mean, I really like Figment. I go to Walt Disney World all the time, and Figment is a great character, and I would love to race competitively as Figment in this game, but unfortunately that's just not possible because Figment is such a bad racer. He's practically unusable, which really sucks because if someone downloads Disney Speedstorm because, oh, I really want to play as Figment or Hercules, or let's say like, a different reality where Stitch is really bad, I really love Stitch, and I would download Disney Speedstorm if I hadn't already just to race as Stitch. And if I got into the game and tried him out and realized that he was one of the worst racers in the game, full stop, practically unplayable, I would be really heartbroken and upset with the state of Disney Speedstorm because they're not trying to make these characters better in any way, shape, or form. So now I've explained why I think Disney Speedstorm needs balance adjustments. What do they need to do? What does Gameloft need to do going forward? Is the situation still savable? Is the meta too far gone? And well, the answer is no. It's never unsavable. Honestly, I don't even think the meta is terrible right now. Yes, Stitch is incredibly obnoxious, but there is counterplay to him. I'm more so making this video because I'm worried about what's going to happen in the future if changes aren't made. If they release a racer that's super broken and they're just unwilling to nerf them, it can make the game horrible, and honestly, Stitch is already kind of bringing down the enjoyment level of regular ranked races. So what does Gameloft need to do to fix this? Well, I think regular balance adjustments are in desperate need. These can happen at the start of the season, at the end of the season, in the middle of the season. I think once per twice a season is plenty. It'd be great if they added more, but a live service game doesn't necessarily need more than 1 or 2 balance adjustments per season. Give people time to adapt to the new meta and settle in and stuff like that. I think 1 to 2 a season is a solid amount, in my opinion at least. And what needs to change in these balance adjustments? Well, like I said before, I'm not gonna give my feedback on every change that I think should be made, but they don't even have to change the abilities necessarily. I think simple stat adjustments to most racers, nerf Stitch's combat stat or his top speed, buff Figment's top speed, or something like that, just small little tweaks to the numbers within the game. I think it'd be very simple changes. I'm not a game designer, but I don't feel like it would be that hard, from my perspective at least. Please forgive me if I'm being naive, but I think simple stat adjustments would be really nice and shake up the game enough. They don't have to change how abilities work or anything like that. I think it would benefit the game a bunch if every season, once or twice, we get a couple stat adjustments to the best and the worst racers in the game, which will shake up the meta a little bit. And that's my take on balancing for Disney Speedstorm. Let me know, do you guys agree? Do you disagree? Do you want balance changes? Do you not? And let me know, who would you balance change? Who would you buff? Who would you nerf? I didn't include my full list in this video because, that wasn't really the point, but there are definitely quite a few balance adjustments that I would make in Disney Speedstorm, and I'm really curious to hear your guys' full list. And just a quick disclaimer, I am not making this video with any hate towards Disney Speedstorm or Gameloft. I know I've been complaining quite a bit this season about different issues in the game, but that is honestly only because I love Disney Speedstorm so much. I love this game. I think it is incredible and has incredible potential. I just make these videos because this is the feedback that I'm giving to the devs in early access. It's what I truly believe. I'm trying to be a voice for the community, and I think all of the changes that I suggest in my videos would be great and benefit the game for all players. And that's why I make this video. I really do love the game, and I really hope it becomes successful when it goes free to play. I can't wait to see what happens as this game transitions out of its early access period and becomes available for everyone to try and enjoy. I'm super excited. These past 4 months have been amazing, and I can't wait to see what the next 4 have in store. But thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, please subscribe. We're really getting close to 1,000 here on the channel, which is absolutely incredible, and I really appreciate everyone who does. But that's all for today's video. Thank you guys so much for watching. Peace out.